Hello, everybody. My name is Master Chen.
And I'm Richard Satchel.
And you are either watching or listening to episode 201. We're episode 201 of Greynoise, the podcast where it is three of us today because Doxy had a birthday to go to, apparently, and he's unboxing a graphics card right now. So, oh, yes, yeah.
I don't blame him.
Anyway, it doesn't matter because it is 7:30 Friday night here at the Sin Shop. The address is 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. Go to sinshop.org for information on the shop and go to meetup.com/sinshop to know about our classes and happenings and things that we're doing here. And for information on us, go to Greynoise, GREYNOI.se. I need alcohol, man. I'm telling you that. Anyway, what do you guys have going on with you?
Life is good.
Yeah, I never know. By the time the end of the week happens, I forget what happened.
Yeah, I think by the time Zedify hits 5 o'clock on Friday, he turns his brain off.
So I worked from home most of this week. Was that?
It's more like 3, but.
Oh, yeah. No, for me, it was like right after lunchtime. It was like, okay, I'm already in weekend mode. We're done here.
I think I was in weekend mode by Wednesday afternoon. So like I have meetings on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And after that Wednesday meeting, I know there's no meetings on Thursdays and Fridays. So I'm like, weekend. Pretty much.
Works for me.
Practically. Anyway, okay, so let's see. We have a couple of things to get into as far as articles and things to discuss, but let's see. Satchel had something to work off of with last week. We were talking about streaming services and things that go with video gaming.
Yes.
And so
last week we talked a bunch about the Google Stadia, and I came to the realization, number one, that everybody is doing the freaking streaming services now. Everybody. So I looked at TheVerge.com, and nope, sorry, wrong. That's wrong. What is it? DigitalTrends.com. And the best game streaming services. We got PlayStation Now. We got GeForce Now, which has been out for a while now, like 2 or 3 years on NVIDIA Shield.
I remember when they were first debuting that service. They were actually debuting it at CES in cars. They had it was like a Mercedes or a Lexus or something at their booth, and you sat in the driver, the passenger seat, and they just had it in the console.
That's weird.
Yeah. It was really weird. It wasn't actually a part of the car. It's just a fancy way of showing it off.
Oh, okay.
It
Right.
confused a lot of people.
That does sound really confusing. It works great as far as the streaming TV thing.
Because you have the...
I have the Shield.
The Shield, yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I got it like a couple months free when I bought it. It's not bad. And that was 2 years ago, 1.5, 2 years ago that I was using it. It's legit. There's one called Jump. I've never heard of that before. There's Xbox Game Pass, and there's Project Stadia, and then there's Project xCloud, which I guess is an additional Microsoft thing that they're doing that's going to be kind of a part of.
I haven't heard of a majority of those.
Yeah. So,
and also Shadow, which was like...
I did hear that, but that's because I thought of Shadow's idea after Shadow already existed. I just didn't know it.
Oh, okay.
And I was telling my coworker about it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I was like, what could we do to start this up? And then seriously, like 2 or 3 days later, Instagram was showing me ads for Shadow. So they must have picked up my voice and figured out what I was talking about. Like, oh, I think you would like this. I'm like, no, I don't think I'd like it. I wanted to create it.
God,
you just ruined my day.
So wait, what's the count at now? We got 7 services?
Well, so yeah, it was something like 5 that was the best of. So I'm sure there's
there's a bigger list.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So do you think? So now that Stadia is in the play, do you think it's going to kill all these other services?
No, Google's going to kill it before anything.
Yeah, you're right. Google kills its own babies. So.
Okay, that's also true, but it's a I guess really the point I was getting at with it is, all of a sudden there's game streaming services all over the place. Forever it was just NVIDIA Shield, NVIDIA's whatever that was called, and Shadow came out and won some vaporware awards back in the early the mid what was that 2010ish? I think it was.
Yeah, it was a while.
And now all of a sudden, just this year, it's like game streaming.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's because they realize that, most people don't really care to get the physical item anymore.
No. It's just the access to it.
Yeah, that's what everybody just wants the access. So
I mean, Steam isn't Steam? I don't want to say it's the front runner, but it's the mainstay, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Steam is for PC gaming. It's probably it's the top market market store in the game right now. I mean, EA's what is it? EA Origin Access or is that one, and
Origin.
then Origin. Who owns Origin. Oh yeah, so
wait, so EA owns 2 different streaming services?
No, it's just Origins.
No, it's a marketplace.
Okay. It's where you buy games.
But I think because of the popularity of just entertainment streaming services, entertainment being like movies, TV shows, anime, podcasts, and all of those are charging monthly. Like Xbox and PlayStation, while they had a pretty well-built downloadable store for marketplaces, they realized they could sell it as a service instead of, hey, you get to own this item for $60. They're going to try and bank on the fact that you're going to sign up for the streaming service, play 1 game a month, but get to charge you $600 a year, for it. And then, I mean, they're going to be making a huge margin on that.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. Yeah. If someone, because I cycle through about 4 to 5 games.
I wish I could do that.
Well, no, I like for months at a time. Like I'll
Right.
play like right now. I got back on Surviving Mars.
Okay.
For some reason, Labbox is the one that actually got me hooked on that stupid game.
I think I remember that conversation.
It's a stupid game.
No, I actually I love it. It's really nice. They added this new DLC that lets you terraform Mars, and I'm like,
You know, there's an app where you can terraform Mars.
huh.
Yeah, I
There's
forgot
an
what
app
it's
for
called.
everything.
I know, but I played it for a while.
not a
and yeah,
game
it was,
for everything,
It was cool.
but-
And then after you terraformed Mars, you could then go and try to terraform Venus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was not bad actually.
That one might be a little harder.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like-
that seems-
So
I mean, actually, that'll go down a deep rabbit hole, but I think I saw a research study that actually was claiming that it might be easier to maybe not terraform, but colonize Venus.
Really?
versus
Fucking really?
Mars. Yeah.
Isn't the air like ammonia or something?
But that's like the upper atmosphere, and so, do you know more about this?
oh
here
my
we
God,
go.
first community mic. All right,
Space
here we
time.
go. Community mic.
So if I remember correctly, Venus is almost a duplicate of Earth, except for way too much, smog, carbon monoxide. I mean, I remember in science class we talked about if there's a way to get them to the surface and make it so they didn't die, we literally could just drop plants there.
That's
and
what-
like it would almost solve the issue.
Yeah, the
Without
whole
us
reason
having
I
to do
know
any
about the
work.
plants part is because I watched the show The Expanse, and they're pretty accurate.
Oh,
they
they
try
talk
and
about-
be
oh, that's-
so they
Talking about
that's-
people stealing ideas.
It's an
Came up with that in
agriculture-
like 2011.
Yeah,
Stealing my idea. But yeah, it's essentially like supposed to almost be in a almost like exact livable conditions as
Yeah.
Earth if it didn't have so much CO2 in it.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
it wasn't like 300 degrees.
But no, it's 300 degrees because of the CO2.
yeah.
Like
Huh.
you solve
Yeah,
one
it's,
issue.
I know it's the greenhouse
It's basically
gas
what's
effect.
happening to
Or the
our
green-
planet because
yeah.
you know,
and I mean,
climate
maybe
change doesn't
maybe
exist.
we have to balance it. We have to get this planet to go up for that one to go down. We just move over.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if they can't like send space drones. That
Space
sounds
drones.
stupid, but kind of like unmanned vehicles to crash land there with a whole bunch of seeds, or like if it could eject the seeds on the way down. Like
I mean,
But can
I mean,
plants? Well, I don't know.
that's
Yeah.
what he's saying. What he's saying is plants can grow in it. So
In those conditions, I don't.
Yeah.
We have somebody who's like kind of wanting to go to the community mics. Like, nah, fuck it. Maybe we'll motivate him to stand up and talk.
so my point is that I go between like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
And so like I'll go Borderlands or something like that, maybe Fallout. They'll cycle through for a month at a time. So what you're saying with what you were saying before is that's only a few games, right? Let's say 3 in a year.
Yeah.
So that's $120. But if I'm paying $10 a month,
Yeah. It's gonna go over that margin.
yeah.
So I was thinking about what we were talking about last week with the memory documentary.
Yeah.
And how CDs don't last that long. Actually, if you think about it, it's
Yeah.
got like a shelf life of maybe 1 to 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And so you think about all the games that you do have in CD format, right? And the detriment is that like in 2 years, those games might not even work. Let alone if you have a console that would play it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with these streaming services, assuming that they don't take the game off the market or just fuck with your library, you have access to those games into the future, at least
Yeah.
into the more foreseeable future.
Yeah, I
So
mean
that's an advantage.
That's definitely an upper side to it, is because now it's not using your storage median, which is the disk that you purchased.
Right.
You're using somebody else's computer in the cloud.
Yeah.
But the scariest part about that is, if something comes out about, I don't know, Dead Space 3, the game, or Dead Space 4 that's not out yet. Something comes out, and it gets in an uproar, they could just pull it off the market. It's like, well, I bought that, or that's the game
Yeah,
that
so
I bought this service for, but if they could just yank it at will because they're TOS.
Do you then get access to another game also worth $60? Of course, the answer is no. And
Well, it probably depends on the publisher, like if they're going to do anything about it.
I'm guessing the
They're
answer's gonna be no.
probably not going to do anything.
yeah. So
Right,
that's
yeah.
there's that, right? So
But so it's not only that, and this is kind of so that part was kind of like that's weird. But then in addition to that, one more kind of little thing on the end of it is Bethesda is announcing this Orion cloud gaming system. And what Orion is it's basically, instead of a game streaming system, it's a way to make games stream better.
Okay, so
Is
how?
it
So in
a
other words-
physical device?
No. It's inside. It's like a maybe a programming library or something, or an engine or something to that effect. I don't know all of the details. It's a software platform that's supposed to dramatically improve cloud gaming performance
Is it for the consumer or for the
developers. I believe.
the developers, producers?
Right. It's not something that I would buy. It's something that a game producer
Yeah,
would
so
buy.
it's like, like Raising Cane's or Portasubs using the same service for the rewards system. The back end
Yeah.
is going to be...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it.
Yeah. So, and I just kind of realized that Bethesda is releasing something to make graphics better. The Gall.
That's what it's called?
No.
No, he's saying they have the gall to do that.
Bethesda, who is not known
yeah.
for their graphics,
Yeah.
is releasing a thing to make graphics stream better. The Gall. But anyway, so yeah, basically my point was, oh my god, there's a bunch of gaming things. What the hell is Bethesda doing? Learn to
Yeah.
graphics. And the Gall.
Also, they had just terrible game performance issues in one of their most recent games already.
I gotta give it another
Maybe this
try.
is like a saving face. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
you guys know that I am like the biggest gamer here, so I don't have an opinion on this.
You just maybe Jim the camera.
All right, we have community mic again. We have a lot of opinions tonight. Go ahead.
This might be something along the lines of like Amazon Connect, where because they did have issues when the game first came out.
Amazon Connect?
Yeah, so Amazon Connect was an internal call center program that Amazon used, and then they were like, "Hey, money," and now they sell it.
Oh, yeah, so they sell it as a
this
service.
might be the similar thing where like
Money.
they were having game issues. They probably bought another company that was already producing this
Yeah.
tech,
Yeah.
polished it into what they needed, and now they're like, "Oh, everyone's doing this, money.
So-
Let's us
Yeah.
sell it."
So I've heard about polishing a turd, but can the turd polish the? Can it go backwards? Can it be like you suck at graphics, but I'm going to buy this graphics company thinking that it'll make us better? Like you know what I mean?
Maybe,
Like, it's
maybe.
not polishing a turd. It's like buying something that's shiny, and you are the turd when it comes to like graphics, right? You're like, I'm going to just.
I see what you're saying.
See,
Like,
okay,
it's
I'm
a
trying to make
tail
it work.
wagging the dog.
Yeah, I'm
thing.
trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Isn't that
Well,
kind of like what we're talking about here?
I
Just
mean,
kind of like,
I feel like no.
really? You
No.
don't see that fit?
Like I
Is that-
understand what you're trying to say,
come
but
on
I don't
now,
think
man.
it fits.
you have the beginning of an idea.
I know. I'm working on it, man. Just I don't have enough
Just
time.
keep working at it. You'll get it.
All right. Well, final thoughts on this, or further thoughts if we have anything to elaborate on, or
It was just kind of like, huh.
okay, that's there.
Well, actually, that does kind of tie into what we were saying. I think we were talking about this last week with emergent technologies. Like once all the pieces are there for a thing to be produced, right? Like you had like an idea for Shadow before it was even a thing, right?
Yeah.
That's because, and I'd be willing to bet there's like 50 other people that had that exact same
Oh,
idea,
yeah.
because all of those people were like, hey, wait, I have this piece here and this piece here, and the hardware is cheap enough, and blah blah blah. This could work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like once all the pieces are in place, then that's why you see ideas like that spring up. And
Well, yeah, it's just like
Everywhere.
another example, the iPhone.
yeah,
I mean, I was actually going to use a different example. I was going to use the AirPods as an example.
Okay,
They
yeah.
kind of perfected more so
Mhm.
the huge latency issue with individual earbud pieces, because there were products on the market that I even purchased that just did not work well. Like if you turned your head a certain way, the frequency would screw up. It just wasn't great.
oh,
AirPods, they did really well, and then other people started joining in, like Bose and Jabra and all that. I have Jabras and they're fantastic.
I have Jabras, same ones that Zenify has,
Yeah,
and they're
copycat.
fucking great. Hey, you're the one who recommended it, damn it.
Yeah, I know, and I also recommended my car as well, and you went and bought one of those too.
Oh yeah,
And
we
Asus
have the same
lap-
car
You
too.
have
We have the
the
same
same
car and the same fucking.
And we had the same phone for a while, and he bought an Asus laptop, and
Hey, look, man,
Huh.
he is my technical consultant. Okay, so like when he does technically, no, I really trust his opinion. So when he does something technically, of course, I'm going to ask for his advice. In fact, earlier today we were talking about home automation. Hey, man, what do you think about this? And we talked about it for like a half hour.
yeah.
And now I know what I'm going to do later.
Well,
I'll sleep, but maybe I'll work on it on Sunday or something.
I'm sure.
Anyway, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So there's that.
emergent technology.
So that, I mean, that I was just using the AirPod
Yeah.
example. I think it's
now,
just
how are you
because
going to use the iPhone as the example?
Well, just
everybody was
because-
working on a tablet phone? Or
no,
like
not
a-
everybody was working on a tablet phone. People were trying, like the Palm, touch. Everyone,
Oh, yeah,
was
yeah.
attempting, but everyone was just sticking to the keyboard format. BlackBerry was on
Well,
freaking top of the world.
Right, but it wasn't just the keyboard issue. It was also that old touchscreens they weren't the
Yeah, they were
capacitive.
haptic,
they weren't kinetic.
No, yeah.
They weren't kinetic touchscreens.
And
They were,
that was the big deal. But so the point I'm trying to make is, to Satchel's, points really of a product exploding once one good portion of it comes out. It's because I think it's really just because of maybe it goes as deep as employees, at the company that developed it, and maybe the NDA is not strong enough, or maybe it just doesn't matter. They kind of move over and take what mental knowledge they have, not of the product specifically, but like code snippets in their head or something, and they just start developing it everywhere else, and they create their own startups or something like that. It becomes super easy once the tech is out there once, especially if it reaches China, because they just reverse engineer the shit out of it and make 10,000 copies, and then
But I guess really what I'm getting at more is if you look at it like step back from even that, right? We got two people that are in containment boxes, right?
Yeah.
But they still have access to the internet, but they don't know that the other person's working on this.
I was gonna say,
if they see that, streaming services are hot. This was something that was brought up by a member of the audience earlier before we came on. If they see, streaming services are hot right now, everybody's watching their movies that way, no one cares about owning a physical product, bandwidth is getting cheaper, VM technology is getting better, hey, a game streaming service might work.
Yeah, and who knows what
Completely-
other types of, online cloud-based services we're going to see in the next couple of years. We're going to have the same discussion.
Yeah.
History is just going to repeat itself until it crumbles, and then it repeats itself again.
Well, even that's repeating itself, but yeah.
So is that our final thought on the issue? Again, I'm not talking a lot about this because you guys know I'm an excellent advocate of gaming, and I'm just the greatest gamer, and I beat Doxy at all the fighting games.
Yeah,
he's not here to defend himself, so I'm going to say that I'm the best. I could beat him at Street Fighter. I could beat him at Mortal Kombat. I could beat him at all these things.
All those things, yeah, definitely, totally.
Yeah. So
We believe you.
there we go. So we do have a couple of hacker stories here. Zenify found a couple, but I've got a couple here too. Now, before we get into that, a lot of people have asked me, do you know if you're accepted yet? Do you know if you're accepted to speak at DEF CON yet?
They've asked you that. They come up to you and they're like, please, Chad.
Yes. The answer is no, not yet. But no, not yet. But they've released their first round of speakers. I'm not on that list, but I haven't gotten a rejection email yet. So I don't know.
So if you're with DEF CON, hurry up, get this
No,
guy.
shut up. No, I'm not saying that.
That's not what you were saying.
No.
Oh, I'm
just
sorry.
saying.
He just wants his rejection letter already.
Yeah.
No.
No. Oh, no.
No, I don't necessarily want a rejection letter, but I want to know one way or the other.
Okay.
But we have a couple of people in the audience who've already kind of seen the list. There's a list of the accepted talks already. So go ahead and go to defcon.org to see that list now. They've already announced that first step. And Crux actually posted some. It was talking about freaking the elevator. I see you chuckle. No, it's talking about phone freaking the elevator phones. So that's going to be probably an interesting one.
That's pretty cool.
So that's also posted in the live stream there. I'm still waiting for either an acceptance or a rejection. I'm hoping that. Well, Nikita said that they'd have the results by the end of the weekend at the latest. So I'm waiting. I'm hoping. But there's that. So that's to break the ice into the whole kind of hacker news. The first article that I have is right here. It's called, and this is, of course, from, oh my God, I hate when they do this. Like, you know how, like, this isn't the New York Times, but you know how they have that script, like that old-timey type of calligraphy script?
Yeah.
I can't read that shit.
That looks like the Sydney Morning Herald.
Okay, so this is from the Sydney Morning Herald. But this link was shared to us by one of our listeners earlier today, actually. The article says, Spanish Football League fined for turning fans' phones into public spies.
They are fine.
Yeah, so they actually got...
Pub spies.
Pub. Oh, yeah,
At
pub.
the pub.
Pub. Sorry, they're at the pub, right?
The bar.
Yes, I do apologize.
A tavern.
So they were fined 250,000 euros, which translates to about $400,000 US currency, for, of course, turning attendees' phones into spies. So if you're at the pub, basically how this works is if you're at the pub they'll secretly turn on your microphone. This is from La Liga or La Liga. It's a Spanish word. Is the name of the app. Okay.
Okay.
And so they'll secretly turn on your microphone and see if they can hear the game playing. The game, the soccer game playing. And if they hear that, they will then turn on your geolocation, find out which bar you're at, because if they didn't pay for licensing to stream the game, then boom, you get smashed with a fine. The pub does, not the people.
Right.
Yeah. So now they got fined for using, of course, phones in that illegal manner.
I got to admit, that's clever.
Was it illegal though? Like, was it for sure? Like, they didn't have any fine print in any of their TOS that was like.
Well, okay, I don't know, but I'm assuming that's where the fine comes from.
How could it also be? I mean, if they're like Android phones or iPhone, the app has to. It has to prompt you for.
Well, so that's what I haven't read into yet. Yeah. But the question then is, if they didn't notify you that they have access to your microphone. Yeah, how much due
diligence did they do to say, we could activate this at any time? You don't need to know what we're going to be doing with this activation.
Well, okay, so one, who reads TOSs?
Well,
two,
there's actually a website that I've been trying to find where somebody there's just this community group that reads literally every single word on it, but then they summarize it for you about the points that you need to know. That's how I learned about the back in the day. There was a bit on you can't use iTunes for any purposes for nuclear warfare, and I was like, who the hell is using? I mean, I guess if they're building the nuclear warhead and they're listening to Mariah Carey on iTunes, you can't do that.
That was the first thing you thought of.
Yeah,
Mariah Carey.
Well,
I'm not judging.
I was thinking of iTunes and who would be at the top of the charts. Is she relevant?
At the time, probably
back in 2008. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I remember reading something like that, and that's just the thing of the TOS that I read. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, all they have to do is have a pop-up there that says La Liga would like to use your microphone.
But okay, even if they okay, so I'm guessing that this La Liga app is kind of like the NHL app, where you go check scores, check rosters, etc. When you install that app, I'm assuming, let's say they ask for rights to your microphone or they ask for rights to your device storage. Now I know most people won't give a shit and care enough to say, why do they need access to my geolocation on my microphone, right? They wouldn't normally ask themselves that question. But let's say people in our community would be like, okay, wait a minute. This app will never make a phone call. This app will never record me with live streaming video or anything that would require a microphone.
Right.
Why is it asking for that permission, right? So we would maybe get suspicious. I don't know if we
probably how they got caught, because otherwise how the hell could they? Because they weren't busting the patrons.
So what do you mean? What did it do?
No, what was the purpose of the app to begin with?
So, like I said, I think it's like an NHL app where you can check for scores on the soccer games.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, the football games. Check for rosters, maybe playoff stats. Player updates. That's what the NHL app does at least. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like that. So again,
you just
that
Google
app.
That shit.
Well, yeah, but people have an app for everything, right? Why go to a web browser when I could just have an app that tells me all the same information?
Yeah.
You can go to m.facebook.com in a mobile browser, or you can have the Facebook app. People are going to have the app. So even though you can Google this information, you just have it, you tap open, and boom, there's all this information.
Yeah, and
you don't have to query
notifications and stuff. Yeah, all right, I get it.
Yeah,
I am surprised that it's actually Spain's football league that did it. Because you would think that Spain's football league has enough money. Football is not a small sport.
But they want to make sure, because they don't like those big, large group events that don't have proper licensing to have a viewing party of, let's say, 150 people, because then that's 100 and let's just assume 46 people. If you think 4 people to a household, they're like, okay, we're cool with that. 4 people sitting on a couch watching some our game, and they're paying the pay-per-view or whatever for that.
Okay.
But if you're in a bar and they're broadcasting that to 16 televisions and 150 people are in the room, well, that's a lot more money they're missing out on.
Gotcha. All right. Well, fair enough.
Okay, so
now, apparently it wasn't actually recording audio. Like, they wouldn't be able to hear you as a person and identify you. They said damn it, and I lost it.
Well,
it was something like it only here it is. It generated a fingerprint of sound that contained 0.75% of the information gathered, making it technically impossible to interpret voices or human conversations.
So is there something in the game? Like, is there like a
Goal!
is there like a certain like
I don't know,
a
that's-
symbol or a certain
a tone or
a
something
tone,
like
a
that.
charm that's at a certain frequency, and if the phones pick up on it, they're like, yeah, that's our watermark
Yeah.
in the sound clip.
You easily could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to make a point on, or to your point about cleverness, whether this be right or wrong or ethical or whatever, it is clever.
It is clever.
It is very clever on how they came up with the idea of, hey, let's just fucking do this, and we'll see everybody aggregating around this bar and snap them. Yep. Community mic.
So I mean, it's probably more. The way I would assume is this is probably one of the most popular like sports apps, because if they're doing this, they clearly know that they have enough people to do it. It probably is 100 people at the bar. Let's say
Yeah.
half the people at the bar has it.
Yeah.
The geolocation puts them all together, and they literally just take like 0.5% of a fingerprint from each person and then just reconstruct it.
Oh yeah, that'd be.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And
Oh yeah.
Because like you don't need enough, but because they're the ones who are streaming the game, so they know like, oh, at 0800, this was what sound was being made.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidentally, all 50 of these phones picked up on that same thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
I see
you
what
also because you can really just record, because you also run into the issue of bars are noisy, pubs are noisy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You would only really be able to get so much anyways, and they probably did this specifically for legality reasons.
Mm-hmm.
My guess.
I think like I could see how this could maybe be the same technology that like Maps uses to generate traffic reports, right? Like Google Maps, like where you have a fingerprint of like so and so is going down, or like this group of people is going down the 15 at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It looks like traffic is clear. It's going to be something like that, right?
I mean, honestly, it's probably less invasive.
Well, yeah,
That
probably less
technology.
invasive. But
Yeah.
I'm saying like
Yeah.
what I'm saying is using technology
Yeah.
for fingerprinting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they just rely on having enough people. There's probably several like places that got by just because the people didn't have the app installed, because they were only like 25. Like I don't know how much due process they have to do once they're like, oh yeah, Tony's Pub, they're definitely playing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if they just have to like call someone or if they have to like put some motion in action, because there's probably a limit. Like once we get X number of fingerprints confirming at a location.
Yeah.
then
What
we
if
move
somebody lived
forward.
above a bar and was just happened to be watching the game or some
Yeah.
shit?
Well, so when it comes to when we talk about like let's say surveillance, right? This is another example of like where surveillance doesn't always mean visually seeing anything,
Right.
right?
Of course.
So it's different types of data points where you're like you can confirm that this is happening at this location or that's so and so is there because I know from point A to point B.
And they weren't even necessarily listening to people. They said
No,
in
not
the
at all.
article they're saying it uses a technology like Shazam,
Right.
where
so
it
you're
like
yeah.
recognizes the sound that is on the thing. So yeah.
So interesting stuff. Interesting way the technology is being used. I have to agree with you 100%, man. This is very clever.
Yeah.
We could talk about the ethics of it some other time, but it's clever.
They got fined pretty good. Like you said, it was what
250,000 euros.
That's-
400,000 US dollars.
That is not a small amount. So yeah, they said they're going to discontinue using the technology from the end of the month, although it said this was merely the end of a contract with the supplier and not due to their decision.
Wait.
We were going to do it anyway, but
Yeah,
whatever.
we were going to renew. We just wanted to do it this one time.
I was going to do it anyway.
This is like the trial period. We paid for a monthly subscription.
You guys are stupid. We're going to go home.
All right, we got another article here. So this one, kind of not the same thing, but we're talking about mobile technology here.
Okay.
The article is, okay, this is from appinsider.com. Man...
Apple Insider.
Oh, Apple Insider,
not
sorry. I need to get my eyes checked. Man jailed for not unlocking his iPhone adds fuel to the device search warrant debate.
I thought you didn't have to do that.
No. So the idea is, okay, when you're talking about biometrics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, correct me if I'm wrong. You have to give up your biometrics. So you don't have to give up your passcode,
Yeah.
Was that true?
right? That's how it is. Yeah. So
Really?
And
that's why
certain-
it's advisable
cer-
to
cer-
not
yeah.
have a fingerprint.
Certain state laws, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Nevada is one of them, where if they ask you, basically compel you, you have to give up your fingerprint, biometric. But if they say, what is your password to get into the device? No go.
Right, and so this person refused to give up their passcode, even though I guess the last thing that the law enforcement saw was a text message that said, "Hey, did they find it?" which is well, you could interpret that however you
Oh,
want.
no shit.
Yeah, that was later in the article.
Oh, wonderful.
So this leads to, again, this is adding fuel to the debate. Like, do you allow biometrics and not allow passcodes? Is it advisable then to stick with passcodes and no biometrics? There's a lot of biometrics being used for like your finance apps, all these apps. All these apps are now starting to use fingerprint as your identification, and even the iris scanner too. So thoughts on this?
Wait, so even an iris scanner, they can.
Yeah. It's
So
biometric.
Wow.
iris scanner is also it's on the Samsung phones. Are they on any other phones?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know which ones, but maybe
I mean,
maybe
Apple, Face
right?
ID.
Yeah, Face ID.
Wow.
So thoughts on this?
I didn't know that you had to give up biometrics.
Yep, you have to give up biometrics. You don't have to give up a passcode. But
I think that law is changing. Well, I think there's constant articles going out there, like amendment articles.
Trying to make it.
Yeah, they're trying to make it a law that you don't have to.
Oh.
You don't have to be compelled. Obviously, there's certain organizations that are preventing that.
Yeah. So my question is, if you have an app on your phone that will automatically erase everything, will just wipe your phone, and you get pulled over and you're like, no, my privacy or whatever, and you wipe your phone, can they compel you to log into your email or to your Gmail or sign up onto that phone if you've got a phone that doesn't have an account on it? Because then you can just unlock the phone and be like, here, there's my phone.
Yeah, no, I've known of...
Put your Gmail in it.
Well, I don't know about cell phones or like mobile, but I know there's like certain like antivirus or just like security stuff that you could do with your like laptop or desktop.
Yeah.
Where you could sign it, like 2 different passwords will navigate to 2 different accounts on the computer. Slick. So you type in one password and you go to your account, but if you type in another password, it'll still log you in, but it's going to log you into computers with bogus information on it.
Yeah.
Of course, if it's like hard drive encrypted, you're already having it unlocked in a way just to get into the user profiles. But you could have, I don't know, there's ways to prevent that type of stuff, but I'm pretty sure you could still be compelled. Especially if you have like a fingerprint, identification on the laptops even, which a lot do.
But so if you wipe your phone though, there's no real penalty for it. Oh yeah, I just wiped this phone earlier today.
I mean, they don't know what information is there, so they can't.
We're saying we're getting fact check on destroying evidence, maybe.
If they know it's been destroyed and obstructed,
But if I haven't been accused of a crime, then
if you haven't been accused and they don't know necessarily what they're looking for, if they obviously have reason to believe that you did do that, then of course there's going to be an investigation.
They're going to get a warrant. What's that?
It's like flushing drugs down the toilet.
Or eating a bag of shrooms as you get pulled over.
Oh my God! Can you imagine that trip? Oh, I'm not getting pulled.
Have you ever seen Super Troopers?
He can't pull over anymore. He's already over.
I'll have to watch that.
Schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Oh, here we go.
Glittering hand.
Yeah,
That movie was so good.
So
Chad doesn't know it.
No,
Yeah, he doesn't.
I've seen the movie just a long time
You
ago.
have.
The lie detector has determined that is a lie.
Okay, Maury meme. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I don't know where to go with this. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, so it could be argued. I don't know how it could be argued. Just wanted your thoughts.
I mean,
Now,
Yeah.
Zenify.
No, go ahead.
Zenify, you had a couple of articles that you posted in our.
one of them I just posted for the shit of it. I honestly can't even remember I can't actually remember what both of them are.
About the YubiKeys?
Oh yeah, so there was the one on the YubiKeys, but it wasn't on YubiKeys. They were just kind of describing, or no, that one was YubiKeys, wasn't it? Yeah. This article was U.S. government security keys vulnerable to hackers for the dumbest imaginable reason. I think it was just like there's like a firmware issue. I just posted it because I figured it was just topic of discussion revolving around the hype with a physical type of security key, but now if it's like a physical key and they do find a bug like this, like YubiKey did or Yubico, they're having to recall these physical devices, and That's
Gross.
a lot of hassle on the consumer part because they got to change over a bunch of stuff, de-authenticate, re-authenticate with new things.
They won't do it.
What?
They won't turn it in, like to get another device or.
Oh yeah, they'll probably just order a new one. I mean, they're recalling them. They're saying send back those devices, and this is the federal government that were using those devices.
So here's the thing. I read through the article, and I guess what the bug is that the YubiKey keeps, in quotation marks, some predictable content on the device in the data buffer.
Yeah,
and that could affect the randomness of the keys. Okay, fine. But it says a total of 80 of the 256 bits generated by the key remain static. So if you gain access to several signatures, you could recreate the private key. So is that saying that each time it's a different 80 characters?
It's supposed to be, but the reason with this firmware was it was generating less random, making it highly more predictable.
Right. So the 80 bits are
It's
static.
already unimaginably hard, but theoretically you could, which is why they don't want the lawsuit.
So it's like theoretically you could, but theoretically you could balance a sandbox worth of sand on the end of a ballpoint pen. It's like theoretically, sure.
Well, I guess you could call this a preventative measure then.
It's
actually.
It's a preventative measure from the company going under and losing all their money. This is
Fair
the
enough.
U.S. government they're talking about. If they're selling the U.S. government, I mean, look what's
Yeah.
happening with that NASA lawsuit when they figured out a supplier was lying about aluminum. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
a whole
true.
other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, anything hardware is just a pain in the dick to manage.
Yeah.
I told you guys about the thermostat company, right?
But,
Which one?
So, okay, a company I used to work at had a client that made thermostats. They hard-coded the IP address
Oh, you told me about this. Okay, yeah.
onto the boards, into their hardware for their thermostats,
Like burned it into the.
on the chips.
Yeah.
And so then we moved data centers. We could no longer have that IP address. They were just basically fucked.
Wow.
It was like,
Wait, they're publicly routable IP addresses?
Yeah.
Like, oh wow.
right.
That's very.
They didn't make it like a URL or something like that they could redirect to a different IP or something. They were just
Wait, so this is controlled by the network. Like the thermostat was controlled by the network. Why wouldn't it be like even an internally burned IP address, like let's say 192.168.1.5 or something?
no. It was for calling home, for calling their server.
Oh, okay, got you.
Or,
Okay,
yeah, for
okay, I
contacting
got
their
it.
so
So,
is
servers.
there-
it wasn't
so
the
is
client IP
one
address.
of-
It was like the one that they called back to. Okay,
Exactly.
Yeah,
Got
it was the home mothership.
Yeah.
The mothership,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, got it.
So whenever we
Wow, that
changed
sucks.
data, that we eventually worked out some deal with where we moved from and had one single switch sitting in a cabinet, and we're able to pipe that IP through and all this bullshit. But for a minute there, it looked like they were like, oh.
So did
I
anybody
mean,
learn their
if you
lesson?
guys stay, I mean, the only way I would have solved that was just 1-to-1 at that IP address of the old data center, just rent, one use space.
And that's basically what we did.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
So I guess my point is, don't put all your chips in chips. I didn't mean for that to happen. No, but
Don't hard code your shit,
Don't hard code your shit. Yeah.
or at least into like
Or make it a URL that you can control and then direct to other things.
yeah, and then you have
know?
the DNS call in the back end. Okay, so
DNS doesn't have its own fucking problems.
well, yeah, that's whatever.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
It's better than the hard coding part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Zenify. Now this one I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah,
You have
that was
about
the one that I was slightly
replicating an entire city.
not just neighborhood.
Oh, neighborhood. Sorry.
So yeah, at first it just intrigued me because obviously the headline was clickbaity. So you know what I did? I fucking clicked. It says
Way to show.
Way
man.
to show resolve there.
Yeah.
it says how
power.
Amazon cloned a neighborhood to test its delivery robots. Now, obviously, I clicked on this article because I thought they literally brought out the hammers and chisels and concrete, and they made another neighborhood identical to one that was there, like down to what it said the centimeter. But no, it was just digitally, just so they could train the robot. Yeah. So, but in the article, how this was all found out was because there was just some IT service company in Bellevue doing some service work, and they just saw this blue 6-wheel cart coming down with an escort. And they're like, what the heck is that? And it turns out it was Amazon's new robot, and it was just dropping off packages.
So they replicate the entire neighborhood just to see down to the centimeter where he has to turn.
Because they're
he being the
training
robot.
they're training thousands of models to make sure that it doesn't fall off the curb or run into a bush. Like they made it digitally so accurate down to like landscaping. So, they took, models, and it's like, oh, well, this, bush, if it doesn't get trimmed by the third week, it's extended this far out into the sidewalk. And so the thing coming along, and it doesn't know. It's just following the pattern that it was given, but it doesn't know the bush is, an extra, foot out. And so it crashes into it and just kind of just drives infinitely into the bush because it doesn't know what it's doing. So that's pretty much what they did. They created a digital neighborhood to train its, algorithm that it'll be okay, I guess.
So I'll need to find the article I saw earlier where they were talking about the reason why, I guess Roombas. I don't have a Roomba. Does anybody here have a Roomba?
I kind of want.
Okay, cool. So I have a question for you guys. So this article says that it was an explanation of why the Roomba has a certain pattern that it does. Like it's not, of course, it's not back and forth. It's not whatever. It's just kind of like it goes and then Now we know if it hits something, it backs up a little bit, turns around, and like moves in a different direction.
Yeah.
But I guess there's an algorithm to why it would try to traverse a room a certain way. So I found that interesting. I probably should have picked up that article. I just kind of saw it in passing. So that's just what this kind of reminds me of. So.
The amount of disruption that this is going to cause is ridiculous.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, and I don't want to. The whole oh my god, robots are going to take our jobs is almost as lame as the whole we should change our fucking passwords
Every
segment.
90 days.
Yeah, but still, it's just like when you see that they're even getting rid of like now there's so many people working in exactly this field that when the robots come and take over that field, where are those people going to go from there? I guess there's going to be food delivery, but
Yeah.
there's only so many food places that
That's
I can
not where
order
I thought
from.
you were going with that. I thought you were going with issues with it, like people are just gonna steal the bot, the robot.
How heavy is it though? Because if it's like really
I don't
heavy,
know. This morning when I left my neighborhood, I was like, oh, what's that in the street over there? And it was a destroyed RC car.
Oh no shit!
Yeah, so I was like, oh,
I wish you would have grabbed it. I need.
I know you
yeah.
you can use it for parts. Like I don't know, maybe a
I
pushed
know
over scooter.
I know the
outside.
house that RC car belonged to too. So the kid was probably just like, oh, and he just probably ran inside or something like that.
He's like,
Didn't tell us
I
anything.
didn't
Because
do
it was
anything
still
with
out
that.
there in the morning, so
Oh, yeah?
he probably. Yeah.
Hopefully that wasn't a birthday gift. Comedian Mike.
So,
Yes.
on Satchel's topic of what are these people going to do, that's the current issue with the model of automation is it should be, if you're going to automate XYZ job, you should retrain XYZ employee to do something else.
Yeah.
Instead, they're just bringing in automation and then being like, here's a severance package. This is our legal requirement.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah, when there's people who've been doing this like jobs for like the biggest one obviously is like truck drivers because a lot of those people they started when they were 20.
Yep.
They're now 50, 60.
Yep.
That's the only real skill they have, which you could argue they should have had more than one skill, but in the end, like it was a job. They knew how to do it.
Yep.
They did it well. And now because automation of like driving is going to be like one of the easiest things to do once every driving vehicle is automated.
Yeah.
It's going to be like
Once it's a neural network.
yeah, it's going to be a piece of cake
yeah.
because everything will just know where everything is.
Yeah.
You don't even have stoplights.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
then the issue becomes truck drivers who've been doing this all their life. Even people who've only been doing it like 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
10, 20 years is a good while for like other areas to open up that require specialized skills. And they're not getting retrained. Like maybe they can go to a job center, but those are like always under budgeted anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When instead it should be something like in case of like Amazon, oh, you're gonna fill all of your factories with robots? Cool. Retrain, like you don't even have to retrain them to stay within your company, but retrain it so that they can get a job in like at least 3 months from leaving.
Yeah. That, I'm on board.
Yeah. I was talking about this at work the other
I'll
day.
subscribe to your newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Any final thoughts? I mean, before we go to the lightning round.
No, I mean, just basically echoing what he said. You know, like there has to be some way, or maybe a robot tax or something like that. and then that money is then used to retrain people. I'm just spitballing here, or UBI, President Andrew Yang comes in, we'll see.
Okay.
Which I'm not against.
I want. It would be
some
so
ideas.
funny to watch, like, if Andrew Yang and like, if somebody else came in, we could call it the. Never mind. I was gonna go bad with it. The so and so Yang Gangbang 2020.
That went in a whole different.
No, I'm saying like the slogan.
where you went. You know what? I'm not gonna. And then you.
That's where I should
continue?
have stopped. I know. That's where I should have stopped. That's where I should have stopped.
That's probably yeah.
That's
But
where I
this
should've
is
stopped.
funnier though. Honestly, I would argue
That's why I should have stopped.
the something Yang.
No. We can stop.
Okay.
We'll stop.
All right.
Go the fucking money.
All right.
I thought you were gonna go like a yin, like if you
Yin
need to
yang.
find someone named Yin.
No, he's going to what his mind's always on.
Fair enough.
What?
All right, damn.
My mind's not always on that.
Whoosh under the bus.
I know, man. Every week, someone
Harsh.
either is using me as a punching bag, throwing me under the bus, or you got Doxy
Those
there
two
who
things
just
are the
hates
same
me.
thing.
No, it's not.
That's kind
Not
of
exactly the same thing.
okay.
Who wants to do the lightning round first?
Tweet that at Yang. He
I
blows
guess
the
me.
beams. That's awesome. I'm sorry. No, not me.
I will.
He
Okay,
will.
so Xenify is going to go first, apparently, this time. And then we'll go this way, because, that's a weird type of circle. Anyway.
You never answer, really.
Yeah.
No, I kind of just go on to the next one. All right, so we're still looking for a good news source.
There's never going to
We're-
be a good news source.
No.
We just got to correlate from the several clickbaity
We're
shit sites.
going to work on this. So we're back at thehackernews.com. Not that it's a bad news source, but for fuck's sake, clickbait.
Fuck's sake.
All right, so for those of you who do not know what the lightning round is, we're going to read these headlines. We're going to give our tweet's length of an opinion, which never is, but we'll see how that works. And then we'll go on to the next article. So, Xenify, you are starting first. First article here, critical flaw reported in popular Evernote extensions for Chrome users.
Yeah.
I do actually.
Do you?
Well, we got users of Evernote,
But
apparently.
you don't use Chrome? Yeah. Anyways, I see in there it says could have allowed, so I'm assuming
No.
it's already been patched. It says
Oh, yeah.
cybersecurity researcher and could.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of past tense there.
I'll go
So
along
I
with that.
assume this is already good.
Good
I'm
analysis.
sure everything is fine.
Yeah.
Google Chrome is probably more in danger of Google shutting it down than the.
Yeah, the Chrome project, nah, fuck it. It's done.
Fuck it.
work.
Chromebooks, nah.
All right, next article here. Telegram suffers powerful DDoS attack from China during the Hong Kong protests.
That
That's interesting.
was, I was going to say expected.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
expected
that's
and interesting.
Completely expected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no.
mean to tell me that China interfered with the way for people to communicate during a massive protest?
Have you seen pictures of those protests?
Yes,
It's
I
fucking
have.
crazy.
God
Yeah.
fucking bless. Go
Yeah.
get them.
I've seen a lot of Instagram stories and
Yes.
Tanks.
Yep, exactly. This is 1989 all over again. Oh, wait, what? Sorry, now we lost
That
our-
never happened.
Nope.
Nope.
Tiananmen what square?
That's where Winnie the Pooh lived, isn't it?
Oh, she hates you.
Oh, well.
Oh, wow, she hates you. I meant President Xi hates you,
Yeah.
not she hates you.
She.
She. All right, next one. Let's see. Signet. Nope. Next one after that. I'm getting better.
Hot singles in your air?
Yeah, no, not that one.
No.
All right, next one. Android's built-in security key now works with iOS devices for secure login.
I guess interesting. Did they hear about Microsoft and Sony trying to merge their services together, like cross-platform play? So maybe now Android and Apple are finally starting to not hate each other as much.
So there is a lot of kumbaya going on.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with that?
Everybody just copies other
You
people.
like that?
If I don't own your data, but they own your data, and I could borrow the data you have
Oh,
for my
okay.
company.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not responsible. You are, but let me just borrow what you got there. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yep. Kumbaya indeed.
But it's like, Xbox or Microsoft is like, yeah, you know what? You could play Xbox games on the PC. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
Sony's like, nah.
well,
Ish.
but who is working with Microsoft to do cross-platform? Is it Nintendo? There was one company that was okay with it,
I'm pretty sure it was just
Sony-
Steam. Yeah, it was Valve.
No, I thought there was something about Nintendo Switch and Xbox or something like that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I think there was something along those lines. Or maybe I was just
Yeah.
hoping that so that I
Yeah.
could beat Doxy's ass in Mortal Kombat. Because
There's something there, but That's not what we're talking
sorry.
about.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, next one. Let's see. RAM bleed attack.
Ooh.
Flip bits to steal sensitive data from computer memory.
So this, literally all I take from this is just another, they're copying, Heartbleed, RAM bleed, I'm just.
Yeah, when we're talking about naming conventions in general, they should just got to be a little bit more original.
And this one looks pretty official. I mean, they got a logo. Do they have a mascot?
I know.
If they have a mascot.
There was an article about this like a long time ago. I could say like a year ago, like where they have the logo, the mascot, and the stuff of the vulnerability or the exploit before they even publish the exploit.
Yeah.
Heartbleed.
Marketing.
Yeah, exactly. They market the
Yeah.
exploit. It's fucking
all
ridiculous.
about marketing, man.
It
What
is.
do you think
Just
sells?
all we're saying is be more original with the way you name your fucking.
Well, but in a way, it's pretty clever because everyone knows, well, okay, people in that particular industry know about Heartbleed. Oh, but have you heard about Rambleed?
Yeah, but now it's all gonna be the same shit. It's gonna be like, oh wait, what was that? Blue Forever. What the fuck was that? SMB exploit. EverQuest. It's the EverQuest Blue EverQuest
no, you mean Eternal
vulnerability.
Blue? Yeah.
Eternal Blue. What the fuck ever. See, I'm already confused. Anyway,
What?
exactly. So let me keep that. Let's make that the end of the lightning round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, of course, brings us to the end of the show. As you can tell, we've run out of time, but never out of shit to say. See?
I
See?
did actually had one correction from
Never
earlier.
running out of shit to say. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry. But just before we left, since we covered that story earlier about the guy with the phone that got arrested for not supplying his
fingerprint.
shit. Yeah. So according to someone in the studio audience, that guy was held for not complying with a warrant. They had a warrant for his access code, and he was held for contempt. So they had a warrant, and he was like, nah. So that's a little different. If they got a warrant, then you're kind of effed in the proverbial A.
Yeah.
And all the other alphabets.
Indeed.
Letters. I meant letters.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that just so we
Because
weren't.
there's only one alphabet, right? Get it? Or at least in English. In English. I'll stop now. We've run out of
Okay.
time, but never out of shit to say, as you can tell. So join us again next week, Friday nights, like every Friday night, here at 7:30 at the Sin Shop. The address is 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. Go to sinshop.org for information on the shop. Go to meetup.com/sinshop for the classes and the appointments that we do here. What's coming up? I don't know. Find out. And for information on us, go to Greynoise, GREYNOI.SE. Remember, we do not talk shit about Sweden, at least as of late or ever, I don't think. So we can still use that domain. That's the rule.
Sweet, cool.
There we go. See? All right, guys, my name is Master Chen.
Is Zanify?
And I'm Richard Satchel.
Good night. Bye.